Hey everyone, I'm glad to be here. I am here with the next step of my room reorganization, and this is part 2, which is determining storage needs. And I'm going to turn the camera around so that you can see my notes. Okay, so these are the questions. How do I make a journal? What do I do to make the journal? What tools do I use for each step, and which do I use constantly? What materials do I use for each step, and which do I use constantly? This was really hard. You can see it's taken me some time and a lot of notes and thinking about that, and I really didn't want to have to list it all, but I did in the end, and I think it's going to be helpful because this is kind of a gross reorganization, right? There are things that I'm going to have to do still. And one of the things I want to do is try to consolidate, and still I'm going to do another destash. I have to. I didn't know how much stuff I had, but this is how much stuff I have. This is a lot. But the things that I need, the tools that I use constantly, like scissors, glue, cutter, scoreboard, sandpaper, paintbrushes, those all need to be close. And so I have those close. What materials do I use constantly? Distress ink, for sure. Paper, collage materials, dyes and paints and stamps. That's what I use most often. And so I have tried to get those things close. But today, what I want to show you is, okay, so I don't know if you're familiar at all with the Clutterbug gal on YouTube. My other daughter-in-law, Kate, I have 3 daughters-in-law. They're all fabulous, and they all help me constantly. Honestly, they are as good as gold. But Kate was telling me about Clutterbug some time ago, last summer when she visited as well. And again, same problem, grandkids running around, too much stuff. She said, "Mom, I think you're a butterfly." I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, butterfly." Anyway, I just finally got around to listening to some of that, and for sure, I'm a butterfly. That means that I need broad categories and macro organization solutions. They need to be large and not detailed. Detailed categories is micro organization, and that is definitely not me. I am really attracted to my stuff. I like to see it. I get inspired by it, and so I need clear containers, open shelving, that kind of thing. So if you're not familiar, it was really helpful for me to learn about that, because as she mentions, most of the strategies for dealing with this stuff is for the people who like details and micro organizing and putting things into categories. And I have a hard time with that because, yeah, how do you, I don't know, how do you categorize some of the stuff we use? Truly, it's really hard. And so I just want to put things in a tub and root through it when I need to find what I'm looking for. And likewise, I am lazy when it comes to putting things away. As you can see, I have all these little containers on my desk with little things that should be put away but are not. And I just need things to go into a pile, and then when I want to find something, or I think, oh, that's pretty, I think I'll use that, I pick it up. Anyway, on to what we're talking about today. So today I'm organizing my lace trims ribbon. That's the limit of what I'm talking about today. So let me show you what I've done. First of all, let me show you, some time ago, this is what I did with my lace. That window is going to interfere with the light, but this is what I did with my lace. I hung this I found it at Hobby Lobby. It has wires that I can hang, and I just use the paper clips. But I put all of the lace into a little bundle clipped it, and then I just hang it. And when I need a piece of lace, I just come along and look through what I've got. Behind the lace is some colored lace and some rickrack. Specifically, the other trims are over on this other wall, but the rickrack is here, and some fiber is here, and this is all of my seam binding over here. And the reason why I have done that is because if I just did lace, it just looks too white, too, I don't know, uninteresting to me. So I needed a little bit of color, but you can see that it hangs all the way down to kind of behind the chair. And I just love having that there. Now, let me show you quickly. We'll just come down here. I do have more lace. This is like large pieces of lace, folded kinds of lace. Comes into this small tub. This is also some lacy type fabric, some vintage napkins and so on. This is vintage lace, but bigger pieces are stored here in this tub. And then I also have, this is also vintage lace. It's narrow, but you know, I can't hang too much on the wall because it would pull out of the wall. So there are, and then there are some things that are just, you know, naturally stored on stuff, and why interfere with that? So that's what this is. This is just more lace. I have very little things on spools and ribbon, or, you know, like spools, because that does not work for me well. Because then you're dealing with pins, right? And you've got to try to unroll it and then pin it and then get it back on the, yeah, I don't like it. So I do have some lace in this tub, and I'll show you where that goes in just a minute. Okay, let's go over here to the trims. Okay, I stored my ribbons and trims were on all of these spools, and oh my gosh, it was a mess. Like I say, I hated trying to keep them closed, pins. So these, I took them all off the spools, and I have this whole big garbage bag of spools that is going to the trash. Well, let me get it out of the way. And this is what I did. So I did what I did over there. I just hung them on the wall behind the door. I had them on an over-the-door hook, and they were like, all the spools were hanging on these hooks. But then when I opened the door, it wouldn't close because there's all this stuff here, right? So I put it up on the wall, and that's how it looks now. And so now the door can close. Don't mind the door. We need to do something about this door. I think I'm going to decoupage it maybe. But now the door closes, and then when I'm sitting over here in my chair, that's the way it looks. I just really like it. Yep. All right. But I have an abundance of this. I love lace and fiber. It's my passion. And so I also have 2 small tubs of fibers that, you know, were already kind of packaged and wound. And so, as I say, why mess with it? So there are still some in this tub, and more particularly yarn type fibers in this tub. I am a hand spinner, and so I do really like fibers. Yeah. So I have these 4 totes, and I'll show you. This is my shelf in the hall closet, or the hallway just outside the door to the craft room, and I consider this part of my storage too. So you can see the empty spaces right here. That's where, whoops, that's where those 4 totes are stored. So, and this is stuff, another day, another film, but that's what I've been doing, and I'm pretty excited to get that much done. Thanks for being with me, and I hope you're making progress. We'll talk to you again.